Hey everybody, and welcome to the 18th Weird News Report. Very exciting. Remember 2 weeks ago when I said that I was excited that all the snow had melted and that we were finally past winter? Well, since then, it has snowed like 3 times. Literally it has snowed yesterday, and like today's April 4th. It's kind of ridiculous. And I don't know if we're done with the snow yet, because every time I think we're done with the snow, we've made it past the snow. Every time I think we've made it past the snow, it snows again. So I don't know. I'm a little bit bummed out this week. But anyways, let's get started with our first weird news story, which is about a group of people that managed to pull off a maple syrup heist in Canada. Of course, they have stole millions of dollars worth of maple syrup from Canada's reserve of maple syrup. First of all, I think it's very funny that Canada has maple syrup reserves. And I think it's because like maple syrup can only be like harvested at a specific time of the year, so they have reserves to make sure that like the demand for maple syrup is like met at all times of the year. Anyways, it makes sense, but like it still makes me. I still think it's funny. Yeah, in 2000, this happened way back in 2011, and they're only now just being caught. But way back in 2011, the group of thieves somehow were able to siphon syrup from thousands of barrels of maple syrup from the strategic reserve. They transported the syrup to the province of New Brunswick, where it was packaged into smaller batches and sold to both legitimate buyers and black market exporters. The maple syrup black market. I didn't know that was a thing that existed. There's so many things about this article that is surprising. And of course, they finally realized that this theft had taken place in 2012, so a year later, when the inspectors finally realized that some barrels were empty and some were lighter than they should be. And they realized that 9,571 barrels of syrup was missing, worth $18 million. Apparently, the theft led to police raids in New Brunswick, where they were repackaging the syrup. And the police were able to arrest 16 people, identifying the group leader, identifying valuers. They also seized 2 forklifts, tanker trucks used to transport the stolen product, and 4 huge kettles used to boil syrup down. This is incredible. I didn't know syrup, like maple syrup, could be so dramatic, you know? But apparently, this is surprising. The guy that ran this whole operation, apparently back in 2007, he was fined $1.8 million for selling maple syrup illegally. So this isn't a first-time offense. Once a maple syrup, I don't even know what to say. Once a maple syrup a thief, always a maple syrup thief, I guess. Let's move on to our next article, which is actually kind of related. Apparently this guy, is this the guy? This guy has been sentenced to 50 years in jail for stealing $1.2 million worth of fajitas. You might be wondering, how do you steal $1.2 million worth of fajitas? How do you steal $18 million worth of maple syrup? Anyways, apparently he was a employee at a detention center. And what he was doing, this was this little scam, right? He had been placing orders for fajitas using county funds, and then taking them and selling them for his own profit. And he's been doing this starting in December 2008 and ending when he was caught in August 2017. So he's been doing this for 9 years. Apparently this like whole like scam like unraveled when a delivery driver like showed up to the detention center and told the kitchen employees that an 800-pound delivery of fajitas had arrived. And the kitchen employees were like, "What are you talking about? The people at the detention center are not served fajitas." So the kitchen employees were suspicious. And then the delivery driver went on to say that he had been delivering fajitas to the detention center's kitchen for the past 9 years. What is going on? Apparently they finally fired and arrested, once they got to the bottom of all of it, they have fired Escamilla. His name, what is his name? Gilberto Escamilla. After they arrested him after they found packages of the fajitas in his refrigerator. $1.2 million worth of fajitas. That is insane. It seems also like a lot of work. Like, can't you find an easier way to like steal money? I don't know, because you still have to like sell the fajitas, right? Who is he selling the fajitas to? I'm so confused. But anyway, since Escamilla, this guy, Escamilla, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but since he stole more than $200,000 worth of goods, Texas law considers the crime to be a first-degree felony and allows for sentencing up to 99 years in prison. And it allows for more severe punishment if the defendant commits a crime while acting as a public servant, which he was because he was an employee at this detention center. Wow. Incredible. 2 massive food thefts. Who would have thought? Let's move on to our next article, I guess. Someone just rickrolled the entire city of Dallas with a massive floating QR code. This happened on April Fool's. Let's see. This was a collaboration between Fort Worth-based Sky Elements and Rockwell-based Jared Guineas. Oh God. The guy behind the epic Nerf battles. I don't know what that is. But apparently they had teamed up, this company and this man. They had teamed up to get a whole bunch of drones that like light up. 300 drones that are designed to perform light shows in the sky. And they released them into this sort of arrangement of a QR code, which led to a rickroll. But my question is, like, who would like just like see a massive floating QR code in the sky and just be like, and just like scan it? Like, who knows what that leads to? That could be like an advertisement or something. Oh God. Can you imagine that they start doing this? Like advertising agencies, they try to like do QR codes in the middle of the sky. Yeah, that's gonna help with like light pollution and whatever. Apparently there is like some like tension between Fort Worth and Dallas. Like a playful rivalry. A playful rivalry. Is this the first time in history a rickroll was successfully done with a floating QR code? Maybe, probably, because it's kind of stupid. Okay, let's move on to our next article, which is weird. A weird article, by the way. DC police find 5 fetuses in home of anti-abortion activist Lauren Handy. So apparently back in 2020, this woman named Lauren Handy and 8 other people were like physically obstructing like the entrance to a reproductive health center, which by the way is illegal. Yeah, apparently like a few of them like linked arms and like were blocking the entrance to a reproductive health facility, and a few more were like inside of it. Like, no, I think they were all inside, but like some were blocking the doors and some were blocking entrance to or access to the waiting room. And I think it says that Lauren Handy was the one that was streaming it on Facebook. Of course. Yeah, very illegal apparently to do that, by the way. It says that they can each face a maximum of 11 years in prison. But then it gets weird. Apparently, this woman lives in Washington, D.C., I guess. And they discovered that this woman just has 5 fetuses, like in her or wherever she lives, in her apartment or house. I don't know. In her apartment, her basement apartment, she just has 5 fetuses. Who knows? Who knows where they came from? No further information was available about the fetuses, including where they came from. So, like, what even is this? Where did she get these fetuses? I'm so confused. A dog finds bag of meth while quote, out doing dog things in Arkansas. This is a quote from the Craighead County Sheriff's Office. Quote, a citizen contacted us stating their dog had been out doing dog things and came back home with a weird looking ball. This ball is in fact methamphetamines. If it belongs to you, feel free to come to the office and claim it. Yeah, and the article goes on to say, under normal circumstances, a baseball-sized bag of meth would land one in jail with the charge of possession with intent to distribute. But seeing as how this was the dog's first known offense, he wasn't aware of the existence of laws he wasn't charged with a crime. Is that how it works with people? If they're selling meth, but like it was their first offense and they weren't aware of the laws, they're not charged? I don't know. It feels like that's not how it would go. I don't think you can... Where did this dog get this bag? You would think if you're selling meth, that's a big investment, a bag of meth that you're trying to sell around, right? You'd think you'd try to secure that down a little better. I don't know. Out doing dog things, finding meth. Oh, you know, the classic things that dogs do. Selling meth. If I think of like one activity that dogs like to do, it's selling meth. Okay, let's move on. Man in Germany gets 90 COVID-19 shots to sell forged passes. So there's like COVID-19 passports in Germany, I guess. Apparently this old man was just getting vaccinated a whole bunch of times in order to get a whole bunch of vaccine passports that he could then like sell to people. That seems like a bad idea. Can I just say, to get 90 COVID-19 shots? Yeah, very serious issue. But like, that's terrifying. Why would you get 90 COVID-19 vaccines? That can't be good for your health. Great Sioux Nation issues notice of trespass against owner of hotel that banned Native Americans. There's a woman named Connie Yuri. She's 76 years old, and she owns a hotel called the Grand Gateway Hotel that is in Rapid City. I'll read you the quote that the owner of this hotel wrote on Facebook. Quote, due to the killing that took place at the Grand Gateway Hotel on March 19th, 2020 at 4 a.m., plus all the vandalism we have had since the mayor and police department are working with the nonprofit organization Dark Money, we will no longer allow Native Americans on property, including chairs. So this woman tried to ban Native Americans from her hotel. Seems illegal and racist. The people there's a treaty that was passed way back in 1868 that makes it so that like any person that owns a business like on the land of like Native Americans has to have like consent from the Native Americans to like own their business there, to like settle there. So like the Native Americans like evicted her from her hotel because they have the authority to do so. And then they said that she was trespassing on their land. So I guess what goes around comes around. She banned the Native Americans from her hotel, and then the Native Americans banned her hotel from their land. Flamingo that escaped Kansas Zoo in 2005 spotted in Texas. There's a big storm back in 2005. Apparently, it assisted two flamingos from escaping the Sedgwick County Zoo in Wichita. And also the employees had not clipped the bird's wings to prevent it from flying. One of the flamingos was never seen again. The other flamingo, the other flamingo's name is number 492 because it has like a band on its leg that says 492. It has been seen several times since it's escaped in Louisiana, Texas, and Wisconsin. I didn't think that flamingos could even survive in Wisconsin, but I guess it's been seen in Wisconsin somehow. And it's been seen again in Texas. But the zoo says they can't, despite the sightings, they can't recapture the flamingo because there's no easy way to do so without disturbing other wildlife. That's what it says in this article. So there's just flamingos that exist in the United States now that can go wherever they want, that were from Africa. It's like, I just can't imagine like seeing a flamingo in Wisconsin from Africa. It would be like, what? Let's move on to our next story. You know how I always like the stories that are people mistaking fake things for real things. And we have three articles for you. I have 3 articles for you this week. Texas police were called in to about a discovery of skeletal remains near a road. And when the police arrived, they realized that it was a plastic prop skeleton. And this article says that the this article says that the remains, in quotes, the plastic skeleton, were removed and given a proper burial. Did they? I don't know if that's a joke or if they actually like buried it, but I hope they actually buried it, gave it a proper burial. That's funny. And it goes on to say, let's all discard our trash properly. I agree. And our next article, police in Britain were called. I think it said a jogger. Yeah, a jogger reported seeing a crocodile on the loose and called the police. But when the police showed up, they realized that the crocodile was just a 2-foot-long toy. So they confiscated the toy, and they put on Twitter, "We are always looking," quote, "we are always looking to recruit extra investigators to join us too." Investigators, it's like a pun, except it's crocodile, so get your stuff right, police. God. Final story. It's a tiger. In England. I don't know. Okay. I didn't realize the 2 of them were from England, but in Oldham, England, the police responded to a call about a tiger that was loose in a neighborhood garden. And when police quickly arrived on the scene, it was determined that the tiger was actually a stuffed toy. So we have 3 stories where people mistaked fake things for real things this week, which brings me great joy. In this incident, the police of Oldham quipped or they provided a quote from Tony the Tiger, who exclaimed, "They're great," when asked about Oldham Police. That was the worst pun out of the three of them. And they all had puns at the end of them, which makes me happy. Well, that was my last story, so goodbye.